South Africa is the most race-regulated country in the world. But before I continue with that, here's something to wrap your head around first. There are pro-Palestinian activists trying to cancel the Kifness December 28th concert at Kirstenbosch Gardens. Sound familiar? Probably does. Why? Because he defended Israel's right to exist and criticized some politicians' stances on this conflict. Let that sink in. A South African musician, famous for his viral cat remixes, feel-good beats, and bringing joy to millions worldwide, is now the target of a boycott campaign because of what he thinks politically. This is the same artist who has YouTube videos with nearly 1 billion views, whose shows are described as uplifting, and who creates music that makes people smile or cry, is being branded as someone who should be silenced because of what he thinks. This is where we have lost the plot entirely. Someone's political views shouldn't interfere with pure peace and entertainment. Imagine saying, I don't like Batista the wrestler anymore, even though I'm a pro wrestling fan, because you supported Kamala Harris in the US elections. Or you're not my friend anymore because you didn't vote for ANC the last time. That's BS. You don't have to agree with every artist's political stance to enjoy their art. John Lennon had controversial political views. So did Bob Marley. For all the reggae fans who probably didn't know. So does every artist who ever lived. We go to concerts to enjoy music, to escape, to feel something. Nicki Minaj recently went to talk on the Christian genocide in Nigeria. Do you suddenly not like Nicki Minaj? It's either you always did or you always didn't. That's it. If you disagree with the Kifness views on Israel, fine. Then try and ask why. But trying to destroy his livelihood and saying thousands of people mustn't go to his event because you disagree with his politics, that's authoritarian nonsense disguised as activism. This is absurd. And by the way, for those of you who are conspiracy theorists saying, no, Summer got paid to sell this, I didn't get paid. But I know what it's like to not be liked by someone because of what you think politically. Remember, I used to go to college. And because I had a different political view from my students, who were mostly EFF members, I'd go and sit somewhere in class and they'd all move to the other side of the classroom. I know exactly what it's like to be discriminated because of your political views. And because of that, I say buy the tickets to this guy's show. Show up, bring your family, enjoy the evening of irresistible beats and big brassy fun under the stars at one of Cape Town's most iconic venues. The tickets are only 255 to 360 Rand at web tickets. If I'm not mistaken, the gates open at 4 p.m. and the show is at 5:15 p.m. Please guys, don't let cancel culture win. We must support great music. Support freedom of expression. Don't judge someone because of their political views. And now that I've gotten that off my chest, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to make a statement that might shock you, that will anger some of you, and will make you uncomfortable. But I need you to hear it because it's true. South Africa is the most race-regulated country in the world today. Not was, it is. Now, I know what you're thinking. But Summer, didn't we end apartheid? We have one of the most progressive constitutions in the world. We are the Rainbow Nation. Well, yes, we did end apartheid. But what did we replace it with exactly? A system that is equally obsessed with race, equally defined by skin color, equally convinced that your melanin determines your opportunities. We didn't end race regulation in South Africa. We just changed who benefits from it. Let me be clear about what exactly I mean. In modern South Africa, your race determines whether you can get a job. But screw that, because none of us have a job anyway. It determines whether your business can secure contracts. It determines university admissions. It determines access to government programs. It determines who gets loans, who gets land, who gets opportunities. Everything, and I mean everything, is filtered through the lens of racial classification. We have created an entire bureaucracy dedicated to categorizing people by race. We have forms that demand you tick boxes identifying your racial group. We have policies like broad-based black economic empowerment that assign you to a score based on your skin color. We have employment equity targets that mandate racial quotas in workplaces. We have preferential procurement policies that favor certain races over others. Does this sound familiar to you? It should, because we've done this before. We called it the apartheid regime, and the world very rightfully so condemned it. But here's the twist. Now we call it transformation and redress, and suddenly it's acceptable. The logic is simple. Apartheid discriminated based on race. So to fix apartheid's legacy, we must discriminate based on race. Does anyone else see the insanity in this? Albert Einstein said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. I'm not denying that apartheid was a great historical injustice. I'm not denying that historical injustices need to be addressed. But fixing racism with racism perpetuates it. It enshrines it. It makes it permanent. Consider the absurdity of what we have created. A young person born in 2005, for example, 10 years after apartheid ended, is still classified, categorized, and is based on their race. They had nothing to do with apartheid. They didn't create it. They didn't benefit from it in any meaningful way. Yet their entire future is determined by what box they tick on a form. If you're born the right race, doors will open. If you're born the wrong race, doors will close. Sound familiar? We have white and racial minority South Africans who can't get jobs despite being qualified because companies need to meet racial quotas. We have Indian and colored South Africans who are considered not black enough for certain opportunities. We have black South Africans who are stigmatized as diversity hires, even when they are brilliantly qualified. Everyone loses in this system. Everyone is reduced to their skin color. And the tragic irony is that 30 years after apartheid, we are still obsessed with the same question apartheid asked. What race are you? We haven't moved on past it. We've institutionalized it instead. Look at any other country that has dealt with historical discrimination. Did they respond by creating permanent racial declassification systems? Did they enshrine racial quotas into law for decades? Most moved toward race-blind policies, toward judging people as individuals and by merit, toward economic empowerment programs based on needs rather than melanin. But not South Africa. We have gone the opposite direction. We have made race more important than qualification. Here's what's even more disturbing. We've normalized this because we don't even question it anymore. Politicians openly campaigning on racial platforms, promising benefits to specific racial groups. They incite racial tensions to win vote, and we accept it as normal politics. Julius Malema can chant "kill the Boer" in a stadium with thousands and face no meaningful consequences. Government officials can call for decisive action against minority groups. Policies can explicitly discriminate based on race. And if you object, you're called a racist. You're told if you don't understand transformation, you should get out. You're accused of wanting to maintain white privilege. The silencing of dissent is perhaps the most apartheid-like feature of our current system. Just as you couldn't question apartheid without being labeled a communist, getting the crap beaten out of you, or being labeled a terrorist, you cannot mention race-based policies today without being labeled a racist or a counter-revolutionary. But someone needs to say it. And I say this is wrong, profoundly wrong. Race-based policy has failed us. After 30 years of BEE, unemployment is higher than ever. Inequality has even worsened. Service delivery has collapsed. So where's the benefit of BEE? Our economy is stagnant. Corruption is rampant. The very people these policies were supposed to help are worse off. The black South Africans are suffering today more than any other time. Why? Because race-based empowerment enriches politically connected elites while doing nothing for ordinary people. It creates a small black middle class while the black majority remains in poverty. It's patronage disguised as justice. And it has destroyed our social cohesion. Instead of building one nation together as a people, we are more divided than ever. Instead of seeing each other as fellow South Africans, we see each other as racial categories. Instead of unity, we have resentment, we have suspicion, and we have tribalism. So here's my challenge to you. Imagine a South Africa where we judge people by their character, not skills, not by their potential, and not by their by their skills and by their potential, not by their skin color. Imagine an employment world based on merit and not melanin. Imagine a country that has moved far past racial segregation entirely. Impossible? No. That was supposed to be the dream of 1994. That is what Madiba promised us. That was what the Rainbow Nation was supposed to be. Instead, we have become the most race-regulated country in the world. And until we admit it, we must be willing to have an honest conversation about ourselves. And until we're brave enough to say this isn't working, we'll stay trapped in the cycle. We fought to end racial classification once, and it's about time we did it again. Thank you. Like and subscribe, share this video with everyone you know, and I'll see you next time.